Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello, Adi Klevit here with the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top entrepreneurs, CEOs, and thought leaders about how to systematize your business. And this podcast is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group. At Business Success Consulting Group, we document processes and procedures and create customized systems for businesses to grow and thrive. Jeany, did you know that businesses need well-documented processes and procedures in order to do really well?
As a matter of fact, I did know that. And what I've learned recently, as a lot of teams were transitioning to virtual, is that before they can implement change and create a new process, they have to know what the previous process was. And usually, unless somebody has taken the time to hiring a consulting group like yours to do that, they don't actually have a document. They don't have those processes. It's very difficult to change from one process or structure to another if you're not completely sure what the first container is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So check us out at bizsuccesscg.com. And if you want to contact us, it's info@bizsuccesscg.com. All right. So now I'm going to introduce my very, very special guest, really good friend, colleague. We've known each other for several years, and we have a great podcast today. And this is Jeany Park, and she is the founder of TreeSwing Video. And it is a B2B video agency. Basically, video agency works with B2B. And she also has an online course, which we're going to talk about. And I've seen her work, and it is just phenomenal. So definitely check out her website. It's just, if you're watching the video, it's below her picture. And we're also going to let you know later on if you're just listening. But Jeany, welcome to the podcast. So great to have you.
Thank you so much, Adi. I'm so happy to be here. And yes, we have known each other for years now. And I always love talking with you and connecting with you. So it's a pleasure to be here. And so happy to talk about video and processes and training and all that good stuff.
That's right. So we're going to talk about videos. And, this podcast, as I said, we feature entrepreneurs and top leaders in the area of business on systematizing businesses. And it's really hard to systematize a business and document the processes and procedures without actually using video, because everything is video nowadays. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about your new course. But let's start with talking about you and your journey. So how did TreeSwing Video start? And also, if you can share the reason why it's called TreeSwing.
Yes, I love to tell the story, our origin story. My journey actually started as myself being in front of the camera. I was a trained actress, and I worked professionally for 15 years on the stage, and also doing educational videos, corporate training videos. I mean, that's kind of where I cut my teeth. And I loved that until 2010, I was working at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and the recession was down spiraling, the economy. And I lost my contract there. And so I had to figure out my next step. I really wanted to try something else. And even though I loved acting, I wanted to see how else I could be of service and contribute where I was not pretending to be somebody else. So I went into life coaching, and I got certification as a life coach, and I loved that, but I didn't know how to get clients. It was at a networking event where a speaker was talking about video and how huge video was going to become in marketing, that the light bulb hit. And I thought, I could do this. I could use my coaching skills and my experience in front of the camera to help entrepreneurs and businesses have their own video presence and get their messaging out. So that's how that came about. That was 6 years ago.
Wow.
Should I talk about the title now?
Yes, let's hear about why is it called Tree Swing Video?
Well, we actually originally had a different name that we changed because it was infringing on the name of a similar company in California. And it was early enough that my attorney said, just go ahead and change the name. But Tree Swing, you can see I actually have a tree for those who are watching the video, and there's a little swing in it.
Right.
And basically, there is this little conversation piece. Basically, the reason for the title is I wanted something a little whimsical and that felt a little playful, because a lot of people, when they get in front of the camera and have to talk, they kind of lock up. They freeze, they get very uncomfortable. I mean, you'd be surprised. People who are very poised and are public speakers and heads of companies, et cetera, as soon as they have to start talking in front of the camera, they freak out. So I wanted a name that suggested, I want you to feel like you're sitting in a swing from a tree in the backyard and have fun. Try to forget about the camera. And that's what we try to do, is create an environment that's relaxed and casual. Because without that element of freedom and play, I don't think we always necessarily show up as our most authentic selves. We show up and we have deer in headlights, or we get dry mouth. So I want people to feel relaxed and natural.
Absolutely. Great point. So let's give the listeners your website so they can go and check it out, because you have videos on there and they will see the quality of the work and what I'm talking about. So what is the website?
Thank you, Adi. Yes, it's just www.treeswingvideo.com. And we have videos everywhere. On the front page, you go to the portfolio page. And if you're looking for a particular kind of video too, I can always send you a link to. We have hundreds and hundreds of videos we've made.
Great. So now let's talk about the different types of videos that companies can use, should use, are using.
Absolutely. Well, the reason why people usually pick up the phone to call us is to make a brand video or introductory video that they need to have on their website, usually on the homepage. And certainly for those who don't have that, that's something that you really want to look into over the next year, because if it's now to the point that if you don't have that video, people are wondering why, and they're just going to keep shopping around and find the one that does. So, obviously not everybody's there yet, but that is something you want to take care of. My recommendation is in the next year or two. So there's that. And there's also social media videos. So content marketing, this podcast, if you're watching the video or the podcast episode, this is content marketing. It's pushing out content that's valuable to your audience so that you are giving them value and staying top of mind. So all those social media videos and posts, articles that you're seeing, those are very strong area to have a video. Customer testimonials, case studies. This is a powerhouse of an asset, because that social proof will drive your sales like nothing else. So that is an incredible place to have video. And let's talk about, in your industry, videos for processes and for training, for onboarding. I would love to hear from you, Adi, and what you're working on with your customers in terms of the videos that they're using in those areas.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, in terms of processes, you document it when you're documenting the processes for training purposes. Definitely, you want to have videos, especially if you work in industries like construction or manufacturing, where visualization is so important. When we work with professional services, we definitely video, but it will be more like a screenshot, basically like a video of the screen. But when you're working with construction, actually showing how to do things, it's incredible. Because what we are running into also, we're living in a time where finding good personnel is can be challenging, right? Finding people that have the skills, the experience, especially in the trades. So what a lot of my clients are doing are actually creating their own training or their own academy, their own places where they actually teach people, or their own university, where they're teaching their the new hires how to do it their way. And video is super important for that. And I think there is an example, I don't know if it's on your website, but the example that we share in one of the webinars we did, where you actually filmed somebody packing, right? I mean, it was like packing a pallet for a
pallet.
manufacturing.
That's right.
And the person went step by step what they were doing. And the video was so clear and so professional that it's very easy to duplicate. So that is one thing. I mean, our listeners will go, okay, so should I hire a professional videographer to make the video? So my take is always do the video. It's better to have a video than not have a video. But from my stand, when I see your work, the advantages of having a professional do it is because it's very clear, very, very easy to assimilate and to duplicate, because that is part of the visualization. You don't want a video that is blurred or jumping around or anything like that. You want something that is definitely very crisp, precise, and not too much information, not too little information, to the point, right? I mean, would you agree that those are the components of a good video?
Yes, exactly. You want to minimize distractions, and you want it to be in focus. You want the lighting to be good enough so that you can see whatever it is you're trying to see. It's very easy to overexpose or underexpose. Sometimes things like sound is the last thing that an amateur videographer might consider. But if it's very important that they hear what you're saying, and you might not think about the background noise of the machine, things like that. That's what a professional can bring to the table, is to make sure it's done right the first time, and that all of those elements are taken care of, and they'll help you with the editing. Often editing is a sticking point for a lot of people.
Right.
You might be able to pick up your phone and do the video, but if there's lots of different steps and you don't want a shaky camera that's all over the place, and keep in mind, these videos are going to be used for a long time, seen by a lot of people. So there is an initial investment, but when you kind of amortize that over the amount of time and number of people, it's well worth the cost. And then we also have a do-it-yourself option of a course for people who maybe feel they have the time and energy and interest to take that on, where we can certainly help you with that.
Absolutely. So yeah, I definitely want to dive into that course, because it can be a solution to a lot of people. But I wanted to continue talking about how videos can be used by companies. And one thing that I thought about is, why professional videos, right? So it's also the image of your company. So let's say, for instance, you want to create videos for sales. The reason why I'm bringing it up, I was just talking to a client yesterday about it. So we have a sales manager, it's a big company, big construction company. And there is a sales manager that spends a lot of their time one-on-one training the new salespeople or the new estimators that are coming on. Mm-hmm. Now that is a perfect opportunity for a video, right? Because instead of doing one-on-one, you can do one-on-many, you can multiply. That's the way you can scale, right? But when you're a salesperson, you run into different scenarios, and those scenarios can be filmed, can be played out, right? Or it can be like the objection. So how do you go about doing it? What are the things that you do? How do you interact with the customer? And when you see it, because we're used to videos, we see movies, we watch movies, we are accustomed to imagine and visualize through video. So if you have a story of how you sell a customer that is well made, it will attract the attention of the new salespeople, and they will be more inclined to duplicate it. So that's why I think instructional videos are very, very, very important, and they're fun to make, right?
They are, absolutely. It is a place where you can be creative, but there's so many things you just touched on, Adi. The role-playing aspect. So you can do a video definitely where you're modeling maybe how to have the sales conversation with the prospect and how not to. I just went actually through a sales training series myself. It was a well-known negotiation sales seminar, and it was all virtual. And so they showed these films that they use in their trainings. And it's one of the things I remember the most is the role plays we did one-on-one, and also the videos that we watched. So that's absolutely key. And yeah, to your point, I mean, depending on how many people you're training, you can really save a lot of time and money by having those videos. And apparently, especially if you think about this, our younger generations, our millennials and now Gen Z, as they're entering the workforce, they're the YouTube generation. They were raised with video. And so that's how they expect to learn. That's how they do things, as they go to YouTube and they look up the tutorial. So there's a statistic that millennials need to see or hear something 7 times before it's going to sink in. So that's the beauty of the video. They don't have to feel silly about going back to their instructor and saying, I still don't understand. They can just go back and watch the video over and over and over again.
That's exactly right. I actually mentioned it yesterday to when I was talking to the client, is that, your first day at work or your second day at work, you are overwhelmed. There's so much information. So you try to train them one-on-one, but instead, if you had a video of it, they can watch it 5 times, 7 times, 6 times, whatever, how many times on their own time and really understand it. So you're actually investing. Yeah, you're investing in a video, but you're actually investing in the training.
Exactly.
I had a client that I was working with a client that they had a fitness center, and they actually had videos of interaction with the receptionist, like the different points. And then we went and documented the procedures for it, but they filmed videos of those different procedures. And when I watched it the first time, I felt like, wow, I know how to be a receptionist at that particular fitness center, because I now understand what exactly is needed, including the attitude, including the how to talk. It's Ivan Meisner, who is the founder of BNI, has saying, he calls it the hidden elements. So you have like an agenda, or you have like a meeting agenda, but you have the hidden elements, which you basically explain why you're doing it. So those elements will not go away, right? And you continue doing them. And I think that that's the same thing that you can do with videos, because you show all the important parts, right? You can even explain it in a video that explains it. So I think those are amazing ideas all over the place from you, from what I'm mentioning, that hopefully our listeners will go, yeah, I need a video on that, or I need a video on that. So
absolutely. Yeah. And something you struck upon is that something like 80% of communication is nonverbal. So that's, again, where video, like you said, in the case of customer service, it's a lot of those smaller details about smiling and your body language that are very memorable in video and can be very helpful. And I have a few stats. Would that be helpful?
Tell me. Absolutely. We love stats.
Yes. So this is a blog that I found. The company is called techsmith.com, and they have this article about videos with training. So here's some really interesting ones. 53% of people reported watching 2 or more instructional videos per week, which is up 152% compared to 2013. And here's something helpful. 52% of viewers prefer instructional and informational videos between 3 to 6 minutes in length. So this is a point, because we do make training videos for companies at times. And sometimes they'll say, oh, we need an hour-long video. We need a 30-minute long video. And I always recommend it's better to break it up into shorter videos, because people are used to watching short form videos. And even within there, if you can have timestamps within the video, so they can jump to 30 seconds, I'm going to see this, and 45 seconds, I'm going to see this. And we try to do that. And I do that in my course for some of our screen share videos. And I recommend it because nobody feels like they have a lot of time. They just want to jump to where they want to go. So the shorter videos do better. And let's see what else. Video title and description are the most common reason why viewers choose a video to watch. So it's a little different if you're embedding those videos, but pay attention to those things, how you're titling it, how you're describing it, if you want to caption it. And something else that we can do in videos is things like draw arrows or add a text box or draw something. There's a lot of capability there to customize the learning so that people can really drill down and see exactly what they need to do and where that attention should be going. And you can also insert humor. Video is a perfect place to insert humor if you want to keep the attention of your trainees.
I'm keep thinking about like the United Airlines videos.
Oh, those are the best.
No,
I love those. I'll watch them over and over again.
I mean, how many times have they flown? And I know that when the mask comes down, the oxygen mask, first of all, put it on yourself and then put it on the one next to you. We already heard it. And we know how to buckle those seats, the seat buckles on the seats because it's, anybody that drove in a car actually had one time when I was flying Southwest, one of the flight attendants said, well, if you For those of you that haven't driven a car for the last 25 years, I'm going to teach you how to actually buckle the seat belt, right?
And you remember that you get stuck out because it was funny.
I know it was funny, but then when you watch those, I actually find myself watching those videos just because they are hilarious. I think it was United, or maybe it was Delta. One of them had it, or maybe both of them, they copied off each other, but it's funny, it's humorous.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So again, why we called our company Tree Swing, and we always try to have a little bit of levity. Humor goes a long way to making people feel comfortable and engaged. And we often include bloopers at the end of our videos. You'll see sometimes the CEO, right? And it's a very, could be very professional image, but then you see them at the end with a little blooper, and it's immediately disarming and charming.
I love that.
So definitely, yeah, find the places where you can have fun, where you can add a little bit of humor or levity, and not try to be perfect. Videos, it's never going to be perfect, and it's not about that. This is something I preach a lot. Done is better than perfect. You can always go back and change it or add a little correction after the fact, where sometimes you have to add a text box that says it's actually no longer called this. Now it's called this. But those are fairly simple fixes. So don't worry about it.
The just do it approach, right?
Yes, just do it. I think that's a slogan of a fairly famous shoe company.
That's right. Yeah, I know. We can.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about different types. So we were talking about the different types. So we have the training videos. You mentioned onboarding. We are big at documenting onboarding for new employees. And I'm always so big on videos like, the welcome from the CEO, because that way you are being welcomed by the CEO every single time, and it's not as dependent on their schedule, right? So you have the video from the CEO, the welcome video, explaining the culture of the company, explaining what to expect. I mean, that it just becomes that personal approach, and it becomes it. So it is basically consistent from employee to employee. They all get onboarded the same way. Right. So I'm sure you do welcome videos like that as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. And consistency is so key. And not only that, studies have shown that people 6 months after they were shown, or went through the training, whether it was a PowerPoint and slide or the videos or in person, but with the videos, the retention after 6 months was like off the charts higher. I mean, it's something like a good 40 to 50% higher than when they didn't have videos. So not only is it efficient, it adds the human touch, it also will help the memory retention of the very people that you are trying to onboard, train, etc. So it really is a no-lose solution. You're only going to have better results. And probably, if people know, oh, I can watch the videos to train, you might actually, that might sway some people in terms of, which company do I want to work for? The one that's going to help me to train? Yeah. Or where they expect me to show up and, if I know it, I know it. If I don't, I have to go elsewhere to learn.
Absolutely. And that's culture. That's all about the culture. That's part of making the culture, et cetera. So I agree 100%.
Exactly.
So we talked about training, we talked about onboarding, we talked about branding, we talked about social media. And, I know you are a wealth of information. We're probably going to record another podcast because I think that will really help our listeners. I would like to dive in, like what makes a great branding video, what makes a really good social media video, et cetera, because I think this is really, I know that for my clients and my audience, this is amazing information and we need it. But, as to your point, we don't want to have like a podcast that lasts an hour. So I'm going to table that one for our next podcast. And then let's talk about, they're actually confronting and deciding to do a video, right? I would imagine that what I can think of, like thinking about when I made videos or thinking about doing videos is like, how am I going to come up with a script? Like, how would I know what to say, etc. So I know you help and you coach people with that and you make it simple. It's like, it's very similar to what I encounter from clients when they first contact us. Well, I don't have the time to do that. And I have so much information in my head. How we're going to get it into a manual? So don't worry. That's what I do. That's why you would contacted me, right? And I know you do the same. So walk us through your process. If somebody contacts you, what are they going to expect?
Yes, great question. And we do get this all the time. Of course, we always start with the discovery call, right? So I need to figure out, is a video the right container? And if so, what kind of video? And then we take it from there. Once we start that process, I will typically have another kickoff, because in almost every kind of situation for service professionals, the more information we have, the better. If I'm trying to do a culture video, culture and capabilities video, I need to ask a lot of questions. I might need to do a site visit. I might need to talk to more than one person to really get a 360 of what that culture is. And then they want to know exactly the mechanics. And it's really hard for me to explain because it's a thing that comes so naturally and easily to me. But somehow through all of those conversations and through gathering the footage, I'm a little bit more organic. My team and I, we're not so much like we'll do the whole creative campaign and necessarily storyboard everything. We have worked that way and we can. Often it's the information that comes up on the side, the tangents, the side door, that is the gold. So you don't always know that when you're starting at the outset. So basically, we take a lot of footage. Once we agree on who are we shooting, what are we shooting, where are we shooting, is there a drone, how long is it going to be, where's it going to go? And then sometimes there's scripting. Sometimes they have somebody who does messaging. Sometimes we do that. And it could be, I'm going to write a draft of a script and somebody's going to read this. Or it could be the CEO or president is speaking in an interview. We do a lot of interviews like this because it's a conversation.
It is.
Not everybody is necessarily gifted at condensing everything their company does into 60 seconds. Most people have some kind of an elevator pitch of, I'm going to explain to you what our company does or who I am or what we do. So it's sometimes easier just asking the right questions and having the right ear to hear. And then a lot of the storytelling is in the editing. And that's actually why you really want a strong video partner, because it's that process that you're trusting them to curate out of all that footage and all the people they talk to and all the brand elements and all the products and services. What are the essential 60 to 120 seconds that you're investing in, you're going to put on your website and everywhere in social media? And that's what we do. And it's a craft. It's just a craft that's been honed over the years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a professional. You need a professional to do that for sure. And if you want to do it professionally, hire a professional. That's what you're there for, Jeany, for sure. But now let's talk about, if you are not yet ready to make that leap and hire a professional, what you love to do is help people. As I said, you're a good friend. I know you. You have such a big heart and you want everyone to be successful. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's why really was the motivation behind creating this course for do it yourself. So people that are not quite ready to hire a professional, or because of the circumstances in the last year. And again, this podcast is probably going to be eternal and people are going to listen to it years after. But right now we're in 2021, April 2021. And it's, we're after the pandemic or the tail end of it or whatever you want to call it. A lot of people are working from home. Things shifted and a lot of people are using videos. So looking good on camera is very important. And explaining things on camera is also very important. So you created this course, which is a do-it-yourself course. Tell us more about that course and what can we expect when we go through it?
Of course. Thank you, Adi. I'd love to talk about this. It is called Get Over Yourself and Start Making Videos. And it is an online course. I created it last year in the middle of the pandemic. It was really in response to so many businesses I saw on social media who were struggling, panicking, people who didn't know how to get their businesses online. So those were the ones that we really saw suffered, right? Maybe it was a brick and mortar, maybe it was a restaurant, maybe it was hospitality. It could have been somebody who cuts hair and they don't, nobody was getting their haircut for a while. So I put a call out there and asked on Facebook, would this be helpful to put together a course that's all about how to make your own videos and make them look pretty good, if not professional, near professional? And it was an overwhelming yes. And that's what I created. It's a total of 9 modules, and it really is a step-by-step, the equipment you need. So, and I'm happy to give anybody who's listening or watching a copy of the DIY video equipment toolkit. So it's a PDF that's included in the course, but you can have the video toolkit for free, and it tells you what equipment to buy and takes you to Amazon. There's links, nothing's very expensive, but the equipment, how to set it up, where to set it up, what to think about in terms of your background. So these are all the things that I know along the way people have told me has held them back. Mindset, how to get over yourself so you can put yourself in front of the camera, and how to, this is the second part of that, what to say to yourself when you're watching yourself in the video. That's the other hurdle. One thing to do the video, it's another to embrace and accept yourself on camera enough to post the video, right? So I talk about that as well. And yeah, content, how to come up with a ton of content. For some people, their company takes care of all the branding and marketing, but they might be the salesperson who needs to make their own videos for social, or they want to do video messages, which you can do in LinkedIn or in Facebook or just by phone. So all of this can apply to that as well. What to wear, makeup. It just goes on and on. There's even a beginning editing module. So yeah, it's the people who have gone through the course have said it's really been helping them. You can take it on your own time, and you can jump around within the course. It's not like some courses where you get one training, then you have to wait the week for the next one. It's got to be in sequence. You can really, if you already know how to do the setup and you just want to know about content or about video marketing strategy, you can jump to those. And it's gamified.
That's what I wanted to say. It's fun because, as you can probably know, but understand by now, it is that like everything that Jeany does, it has a component of fun. Otherwise, why do it? So it is gamified. So tell us about that. What fun are we going to have if we do the course?
Yeah, so it's gamified in that there are points. So there's a suggested number of points. If you just do the basics, you will get those points. And how it works is every time you complete a video training, so I have 32 videos that I've created that are in the course. Every time you complete a video, there's a little cha-ching and you get some points. And then if you do some of the more advanced trainings, it gives you like a double points and double cha-ching, cha-ching. And then you can sort of compete with yourself and to see, you know, how many points you can accumulate. And it's the dopamine. It's that same brain chemistry that we get every time we get a text, every time we, you know, get a like on Facebook, every time we complete a task. It's addictive, right? That's why we're all addicted to our inboxes. But why not leverage that for something good that's going to help you get to where you want to go in your business and your career? And that's why gamification is actually huge in everything. In so many apps, so many aspects of our lives are now being gamified because it works. And I like to use those kinds of strategies for good. So this is going to help you to complete the training. And there's two, just quickly, group coaching calls. So there is accountability and there is help. So I have 2 calls. It's an hour long for the group who's taking the class. Right now, I don't have a cap on when I'm closing that. So, and you can pop into the Zoom room and ask any questions. And, you know, sometimes I offer experts to come in and talk about Instagram or talk about editing. So people are really loving that aspect too.
That's incredible. That is so, so incredible. And again, as I said, we can talk forever. I have so many more questions, but I think we're going to record another podcast. But I like to finish this one when we wrap it up with you. Tell our audience again how they can get that toolkit or the toolkit, because I have one and it's incredible. I mean, I bought so many pieces of equipment off of that toolkit. Awesome. That I love it. And we did a webinar together. We offered it to the webinar attendees and it was a big hit, and you're giving it for free. So this is definitely take advantage. If you have questions, what lighting should I use? You know, microphones, etc. So I can put it down also below the podcast as part of the resources. But tell us how we can contact you and how we can get that.
Yeah. So if you email me at info@treeswingvideo.com, that's info@treeswingvideo.com, and just say free gift Adi Klevit podcast, or somehow reference this podcast, and I will send that to you. Also, I'm happy to gift anybody with a 20-minute complimentary video accelerator session where we can talk about, if you have any questions at all about doing your own video or the course, anything, I'm happy to give my time to you as a thank you for having me on your guest. So thank you so much, Adi.
That is so generous. Thank you, Jeany. It was amazing having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a blast.
All right, good.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.